Our outer world follows our inner world. Most people, especially entrepreneurs and business owners, we try to fix, change, enhance the outer world, ignoring the inner world.
Completely. I never thought I had to pay attention to it.
Right. The universal truth is our outer world follows the inner world every time, all the time. When we put our attention on the inner world and we bring alignment to the inner world, the outer world is going to follow.
I met Linda actually through my own coach. You guys know I always talk about how having a coach is so powerful because they can see things so clearly that you can't always see yourself. And that's how I first met Melinda, was through my coach, Joey. What we talked about in our last episode was how to identify what it is that you are doing. No, how would we say this, Melinda?
I would say, welcome to part 2 of this conversation. We talked about burnout and the indicators of burnout and getting stuck in the hustle culture. And Melinda shared a quadrant and 4 levels of consciousness to help us understand and locate ourselves as the business owner that we are.
I am so grateful. This is a perfect example of what we talked about how I am trying to do this all by myself. And instead, I just asked Melinda to help me. And that is a beautiful example of through me energy, which we learned about last time and that we're going to dig into more now. What we talked about was that when you get stuck in the place of feeling like you're the one who has to be doing everything, you can get so burnt out and your joy can evaporate, it can dissolve, it can disappear in the blink of an eye. And what we're here to talk about is how to get on that bridge to get to the other side, to be truly living in through me energy, which is the flow state energy, which is exactly what just happened. I couldn't figure out how to start this and Melinda came right along and helped. So Melinda, when you were talking about the quadrant, we're talking about the store owner who feels like she has to be the employee as well as she has to be the manager, as well as she has to be the CEO, all at the same time. And that's not sustainable, as you said. So we've laid out examples of how they might see these symptoms in themselves, that they're not operating at the level of life, of happiness, of joy that they want to. What do you recommend that they do now? What is the best first step to take?
The first step, and where it begins, and that's why we started the previous conversation, the 4 levels of consciousness. The first step is not a doing step. The first step is an awareness step. And so when we have the awareness and the perspective of those 4 levels of consciousness, right? The to me, that victim level. Life happens to me. I can't do anything about it. It's just the way it is. Oh, well, maybe next time. Everybody's on vacation. It's summertime. It's the holidays. Nobody wants to buy it. Like whatever external situation, it's that fault, not mine. That's to me, victim. The second level of consciousness is by me. If it's got to be, it's up to me. I'm going to make it happen. That is the most brilliant mantra to start a business and grow a business initially. It's required. You have to hang out there. It is about the doing. It is about the output. It is about learning what you're capable of. And when you set up permanent residence there for too long and you keep hanging out there and keep lingering there because you're stuck in that rut, that's where burnout, that's where we lose the joy of the thing that we love. That's where maybe we start resenting our passions or our gifts. And we want to remember the third level of consciousness, which is through me, that flow state, getting into aligned action, aligned thought, aligned words, aligned emotions. And so it's an awareness state that is our first step, is understanding where we are, deciding where we want to operate from, and then committing to choosing that state regularly. And so that's why the language and the verbiage of those 4 levels of it helps us to say, oh my gosh, I just dropped into victim mode. Hold on a second. I certainly don't want to be in victim mode. Now I'm in buy me mode. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. Can there be an easier way? There's no more of me to give, right? And so that's where through me comes in. And so it helps us to catch ourselves more quickly and have the awareness to be and do differently.
When you talk about that through me energy, can you describe what it looks like and feels like for that store owner? Like literally, how is her day look different and feel different?
Yeah, I'll do a contrast, a compare and contrast between the by me state and the through me state. So the by me state might look like maybe you've got young kids and maybe you hit the alarm and you hit the snooze, but you didn't mean to hit the snooze button. And now you're running late and now you're trying to throw together everything to get the kids ready for school and get you out the door. And maybe you just have to take them to school and then go to your store. And when you get there, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so far behind. And now you're like, oh, I had these 5 things that I had to do first thing this morning. And let me try to cram them all in before I actually open the store. And now you're in this catch up energy and you're forcing yourself and you're pushing through and finally open the store. And you're like, okay. But now I've got these 4 things to do. And my to-do list is so long. And let me just knock some of these things out. And so now you're kind of dabbling in some stuff. Maybe you're only kind of half-assing it, but you're getting it done. It's marked off your list, but you probably have to go back and revisit it again. And so it's like this. Like that's kind of what it sounds like in Buy Me sometimes, right? And I'm kind of over-exaggerating, but only slightly and probably not really. Through Me might look like this. Same person, same kids, same school, same store, same scenario. Through Me might look like before you leave the store the evening before, you're like, I've got 3 big things that I have to do first thing in the morning. Let me get those things ready. Let me get what I need, whatever that is. So when I come in the morning, it's ready for me to just execute. I don't have to gather or find or collect or sort nothing. I'm ready. So you prepare the night before. In the morning, you don't hit the snooze button. You actually have set your alarm maybe 10 minutes earlier so that you can lay in bed and before your head comes off the pillow, you're just stating gratitudes. Maybe it's not even 10 minutes. Maybe it's 5 minutes. And you're like, I am so grateful that I get to do what I love. I'm so grateful for the customers that I get to serve. I am so grateful for the team members I have or that I'm able to do this thing that I love. I'm so grateful, whatever. I'm so grateful the sky is blue. I'm so grateful for my comfortable pillow. It doesn't even matter what the gratitudes are. You're getting yourself in the energy of gratitude because as you're doing that, you're not running cortisol. You're actually flooding your system with endorphins, with dopamine, with oxytocin. So now maybe it's just 5 minutes. Now you get up, you're getting the kids ready for school. You're already grounded in a different energy instead of the behind the 8 ball frantic cortisol stress energy. Now you're rooted in the feel good endorphins, right? And it just took a few minutes of gratitude. Maybe after your shower, you take 20 seconds and you put on a little bit of lotion on your body and you're like, thank you for my healthy body. Whatever state you're in, you just thank you for my healthy body. And it just takes a few little moments of presence, of awareness to begin to cultivate an energy, a state of being. And those chemicals that are running through your body are now influencing how you move through your day. You drop your kid off at school, you go to the store, those things are waiting for you. You do one, then you do the next, and then you do the next. Now it's time to open the store. Now you've got the next 3 things on your to-do list that you can pay attention to. And so you're not behind the 8 ball, but it's an awareness state. It's a state of being. Through Me is a state of being. By Me is a state of doing. By Me often is filled with cortisol, with the stress hormone. Through Me, you're still active. You still have actions. You're still doing a lot of tasks and activities. It's the state of being that you're bringing to those activities. You're doing whatever that is for you. Maybe it's walking your dog in the morning. I had a client that walked his dog every morning, but it was a task and he was holding the leash in one hand and scrolling in the other and trying to multitask. And so walking the dog was not fun. The dog was frantic. It usually didn't go well. He rarely got accomplished what he needed to. And he made a shift. He's like, you know what? For the next 10 minutes, I'm just going to walk the dog. And he left his phone at home. He's like, that stuff will be there when I get back. And he just walked the dog with presence. He began to notice the breeze. He began to hear the sounds. He began to feel his own heartbeat and his breath. The dog was calmer. He actually enjoyed the scenery and it became like a little walking meditation. Although he wasn't the meditating type of person, it became time that he filled himself up, I call it. And then when he got back, then he picked it up. And because he had filled himself up, he was more present. There was more of his energy and attention available. He could crank through the stuff on his phone a lot faster and way more effective. So that's kind of the contrast between By Me and Through Me. Mm-hmm. Does that help?
Yeah, very clearly does. Because I can see how even if you're in that situation, and I can tell you what, I know what happens to me personally, Melinda, and I'm positive I can't be the only one, is that I will for sure have hit this, I'll forget what it is that I'm trying to get to, like who it is I'm trying to be. I sometimes forget and I'll fall into bad habits. So I'll forget to do the thing that night before and I still might hit the snooze button. But now that I know about this through me energy and about being and about the neuroscience. I don't want you to miss that she explained the neuroscience of why this works. This is science. Now that
Yeah.
I know this, I can switch to focusing on being so that I can change some of the reactions. What do I do exactly? Well, maybe I call up a team member that I also know that's coming in, and maybe I ask them to, how can they help me? No different than I asked you how to lay out the opening of this episode. It really changes everything. But behind it is that I no longer feel so depleted anymore. I'm
Yeah.
able to switch into that and tell people, how does that happen?
Yeah. And it's something that kind of, you're going to make the switch, and it's not an overnight switch.
Mm-mm.
Like, as a high achiever, I want it to happen right now. Like, am I there yet? Have we arrived? I should be there already. Like,
Right.
those, and it takes time. And really, the idea is that we catch ourselves faster and quicker and move back into that intentional place more swiftly. That's really the goal and the intention here is, how quickly can I course correct? How quickly can I get back aligned? But I labeled it the calibration loop. Cathy, I know you had a much more fun name to it, but I want to show this because I think it's a good visual. Sometimes we have to hear what we need to hear. Sometimes we have to see it. Sometimes we have to experience it. Like me in the last episode, I had to physically move through those 4 quadrants and feel the sensations of that. Yeah, the top part is the through me calibrated loop, and the bottom half of this figure 8 in the red and gold tones is the uncalibrated loop. And so we begin in the middle. There's a current situation that you're experiencing, whatever it is, a campaign, an interaction with a team member, a customer, something happens, something feels off, and all of a sudden something's not flowing. I talk to my clients and I'm like, if there's a crinkle in your forehead, you're in like alert, something is going on. And so when we start in the middle, if you're in by me, we're going to move counterclockwise and you'll react. You'll have judgment. Something's wrong. I'm behind. I didn't do this right. I should have done it better. I could have been there faster. Why am I not already there? There will be some reaction to whatever the situation is, and you will have a lot of judgment. And then there'll be a story and a meaning that you give it. This isn't working. And there will be why it's not working. And then you're like, okay, whatever. And then you force your way through. Some people call it, I white knuckle my way through it. I push harder. I do more because I'm pushing my way through whatever's not working, hoping that it will lead to a different outcome. And in that forcing, that pushing harder, that doing more, you take misaligned action. And then you're in the current situation and you keep in that rat race. You keep in that uncalibrated loop. But if we look at the current situation in the middle, and like I said, the first step is awareness. Ooh, something feels off. I've got crinkles in my forehead. Something's not flowing. Something's not right. We just have awareness and we speak it. Then we can go to curiosity, right? When we reach for curiosity, what's going on? What's happening? What's going on internally? We can have that inner work, that we do the inner work, because there's a saying that I live by, and it's a universal truth, whether you believe it or not. Our outer world follows our inner world. Most people, especially entrepreneurs and business owners, we try to fix, change, enhance the outer world, ignoring the inner world.
Completely. I never thought I had to pay attention to it.
Right. The universal truth is our outer world follows the inner world every time, all the time. When we put our attention on the inner world and we bring alignment to the inner world, the outer world is going to follow. That's what creates that flow, that effortless feeling. And so in the calibrated loop, as you make your way clockwise from awareness state into the inner world check of curiosity, what is going on within me? What do I need? And usually this is where it's like, oh, wait a minute. I was going to go into by me. I want to be in through me, right? And so you just have that place of curiosity. Now you keep moving clockwise. Now you reach that recalibration. You choose your state intentionally. What state do I want? I want to be in that through me state. And from there, when you choose that state, then you can make aligned action. Now you can act from clarity, not force. It's like, oh, what would best serve me right now? What would help this project the most right now? What do I most need right now? And now you can do aligned action. Mm-hmm. And so that's the calibrated loop of through me.
It's such a powerful way of recognizing that you have so much agency over your life and you don't
Yeah.
always see it. And it's so much easier to fall back into the fact that I have to do it all.
Yeah.
But as we stated, that doesn't get you to where it is that you truly want to go, because it doesn't allow you to be a multiplier. And when
Yeah.
you're working in that through me part of the loop, you're multiplying things. You're impacting more people.
And look, you might be the only doer in your business. I'm not saying that you have to have team in order to accomplish this. You can be the doer in the business. This statement at the bottom of my calibration loop: choose your state first, then engage with the actions in front of you. So if you are the doer, and it is up to you, you don't have to force your way through it. You can choose your way through it. Choose your state first, by me, through me. How do I want to fill myself up first so that I'm experiencing the chemicals of oxytocin, dopamine, endorphins, all the feel-good chemicals? We want our brain triggering those feel-good chemicals, and that's that calibrated loop. The stress chemicals are when we're uncalibrated. And so choose your state first, then engage with whatever actions are in front of you. And I promise they will go smoother, quicker, faster, more effective, and you'll have more ideas, more opportunities. You'll hear and see things in a different way so that you can move differently. Or usually when people are in the calibrated loop, I start hearing things like this: oh my gosh, this person just called me out of the blue. It was exactly what I needed, and I can't even believe they just called me. Or they'll say to me, Melinda, you are not going to believe what just happened to me. And I'll be like, try me. I bet I will. And those are indicators. I'm like, now you're operating in that calibrated state.
Right.
Now you're in that through me state, and you choose your state first and then take aligned action.
The thing that is that in order to get to the place to be able to choose that state, how would you describe it? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I know that there was, like, when I was in full on burnout, I wasn't in any place where I felt like I could make that decision. It was hard enough just to get out of bed. Do you know what I'm saying? And so talk to us about that.
When you're in that, you've dug that rut, right? That by me rut, and you are in that constant doing mode. You know, there's a number of ways that you can snap out of it or step out of it or get out of it. I wish I could say, do X, you'll get out of it, and then you'll be in through me forever. It's unique to each of us, right? I love Post-it notes. I have Post-it notes of all shapes, sizes, and colors. I'm an artist and I'm a visual person. And so I plaster Post-it notes because when I see it, I remember it. Mm-hmm. So that's what works for me. I'm a visual person. I have to print things out and put it in a picture frame to put it on my desk so that I constantly am aware of what I want to know or how I want to be. So that's, maybe you're visual. Maybe you have to touch something. It'll be a different experience for different people. For some people, they need to embody it. For those people, you know, one hand on your heart, one hand on your solar plexus, and take a big deep breath in. A few seconds, and right there, you've shifted out of that state. Mm-hmm. For some people that need to touch, I always have a rose quartz crystal on my desk because sometimes I need a physical sensation to remind my brain to stay in the state that I want to be in. So sometimes it's a physical sensation that I hold on to. So it's going to be different for different people. It could be tactile. What sense really supports you in how you live and learn? Sure. I would engage that sense if I was working with you, right? So it'll be different for different people. That's going to trigger you out of it. But whatever that is for you, let it be in your awareness all of the time until it becomes second nature.
Well, and I think the thing that helped me so much, and in fact, the title in the chapter in your book that I think is so powerful, is when you called it From Guilt to Grow, the Self-Care Shift.
Yeah.
And that is what started to make it easier for me to make that shift because I had more to give from, you know.
And the reason I included that chapter and several of the chapters, there's a lot of undoing that has to be done before we can do over differently. And that guilt, especially for women, good Lord, that's a big one that we've been entrenched with. And so there's a lot that we have to untangle. And it's more than we can cover in this podcast, but that's why I dedicated a whole chapter to it. Right. And so there's different entry points. And that's why I've covered so many different things in the book, because what works for you is going to be different for somebody else. But collectively, the question that I always came back to is, what am I more committed to? Am I more committed to success at all costs, or am I more committed to having a business thriving, profitable at the level I want in the way that I want?
Mm-hmm.
And that question, what are you more committed to? That is what kept me choosing differently every day, every day, every day, undoing the stuff, building a new habit, retraining my brain, letting go of things like guilt. And what are you more committed to? Are you more committed to success at all costs and keep going? If you are, keep going. You're doing fantastic. If you are more committed to creating even greater success and impact, still high profitability, still paying yourself well, still scaling, and doing it in a way that lights you up, that fills you up and leaves you ready to give more, well, that's through me. And so there's some things that we have to unlearn and do differently. And that's what the book is all about.
And to me, one of the key parts of it was adding self-care and recognizing that self-care is not selfish, that self-care is the only way that I can be sustainable at doing all of this, is taking time for myself. I certainly never.
Now, it's interesting because buy-me's will never agree with you. Buy-me's like, there's no time for me. No. It's about doing everything else. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I talk about shifting from that level of awareness from buy me into through me, because through me level understands I am my business's greatest asset and I have to take care of me so I can be more creative, so I can give more to more clients, so I can offer more to more team members. And so I am the greatest asset. And so self-care becomes a strategic advantage. That's where I talk about self-care from.
And I think about that client of yours going for a walk. It was self-care to put down the phone as opposed to just going through his Slack messages or his emails. That was self-care. What I love about all the suggestions you gave about the rose quartz, about the scent, all of those things are self-care. What I love in the book is that you describe so many different things that I never thought of as self-care, and you can fill yourself up so that your inside, then your outside will always follow what your inside is. And so when you're taking care of yourself, it puts you in a different state of being. Your outer world can be in a different state of being. And I so appreciate all those tools that you gave us to use in order to get there. And the other thing I love that she talks about in the book, everyone, is that she also talks about how this is progress, not perfection. And of course, like she said in the beginning, we all want it to happen yesterday. Like, can I just, isn't there a pill I can just take? Or I don't know what. Isn't there something I can do on AI that'll just set all this up for me? And indeed, I bet it could help if you prompted it correctly. If you included the non-negotiable that success for you must be sustainable, because this is the only way to get there. And it's the only way for you to be richer in absolutely every way that you can be. Gosh, thank you so much, Melinda. And I just want to ask one quick thing before we go. We end every episode by asking what a Millie moment was for you, that moment that made you stop and just say, gosh darn it, I did that, and it's crossing a sales milestone. But what was it for you that was that moment, that defining moment?
I remember I was sitting in the living room floor in our house, and that $1 million threshold, ever since I started the business, that I wanted to hit that $1 million threshold. And it was about the money. I love making money. And it wasn't about the money. It was a reflective of, if we're hit $1 million, like that's a lot of people we're helping. And so it was a both kind of goal. Mm-hmm. We were so close and so close and so close for a few years in a row. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know if it's ever going to happen. And my husband, he was like, wait a minute, because he was very closely connected to me and my business. And he came back and he was like, this was like September, I think. Something like that. It was in the early fall. And he said, what if you didn't look at it as a calendar year trying to hit $1 million, but looked at it in 12 months? He's like, what have you done in the last 12 months? And I quickly got on I'm like, oh my gosh, we did it. We did it. We did it. I was like, in a 12-month period, we hit $1 million. And then of course that year we hit $1 million in the calendar year as well. But I remember, what if you didn't look at it in the calendar year? What if you just 12 months? And that shift in perspective, I had already hit the goal. And I remembered, I was like, isn't that something? Yeah. So that was a pretty cool moment.
Oh, I get it. I feel you about that. Wow. Well, and listen, if you all want to go deeper with Melinda, as I told you in the first episode, my agenda, my not so private agenda here is that I am dedicated to compelling you to buy her book, because there's so much to be gained from it. I just got done reading it for the second time to prep for this episode, and it is powerful. y'all. It is powerful. You can find it at sustainablesuccessbook.com. And oh my gosh, tell them about the lovely offer that you made.
Oh yeah. When you go to sustainablesuccessbook.com, of course, you'll see you can get the book, and I'd love for you to grab a copy of that. You'll also see a companion guide. So when you get the book, click on companion guide, because apparently when I wrote the book, I wasn't done writing it after I turned it into the editor. And so I've got an entire companion guide that I'll gift you that goes along with the book as well. So my gift to you is that companion guide.
Oh, thank you so very much, Melinda. I so appreciate it. And
Yes,
I want you all to know that everything Melinda has walked us through, the store business, the store owners who were building businesses that don't run on their owners' exhaustion, people who aren't store owners who aren't grinding harder, they are leading differently. And everything that I've learned through all this is what we teach. And if you're sitting there recognizing that the way you've been showing up is costing you more than it's giving you. She goes into depth in that in the book too. That is exactly the conversation that a game plan call with Crystal was designed to start. You start by telling you where you are, and then we tell you what we see. So the link to apply to that is in the show notes. And listen, you all hit the follow button, and I'm so honored that you've joined us, and I want you to know that you're astonishingly fabulous and you are loved. Thank you so much, Melinda, for being here.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.